Hello and welcome to our next chess video. Today we're talking about the humble pawn. Now the pawn might have a funny sounding name and it might look small and inconsequential, but it's actually one of the more powerful units in the game if it's used wisely. I'm going to tell you why that is. There's a little trick to the pawn. It can do a very special move later on in the game. Now pawns are quite simple. They are the front line of defense. You'll see them on your second line. Every important piece, and I haven't got them on the board yet, but every important piece is on this very back line here. The pawns are defending them. They are like the front line infantry. Okay? Now, the pawn moves one space at a time. Actually, not always true. On the first move, a pawn is able to actually move 2 spaces. So if I move my first pawn, I can actually move 2 spaces. The black might want to come out to meet me and they could also move 2 spaces. A pawn can only move 2 spaces when it is starting from the back line, when it is on its first turn. That's probably because at the start of the war it's full of energy and it's able to jump a little bit further. After that, after the first initial move of 2, the pawn is only able to then move 1 turn each turn. Okay, 1 square each turn. Now, this is quite a traditional starting move. Now, whites always go first. Black came to respond to it. Now, if I move my white up to here, it might seem like a good move, but it's not a good move. Pawns can also attack, and they attack diagonally. They can't attack forward, they can't reach forward, their swords are stuck, but they are able to attack diagonally. If I move my white piece to here, the black piece is able to take my white piece. And you know what? There is nothing to stop it. It can now carry on its advance to the end. Probably not a good move. I'm going to move back another square. Now I might move my pawn, instead of moving it 2 spaces forward, I can just choose to move it 1 space forward. Now this is quite a good position. The reason this is such a good position is I've actually secured this pawn. If anything takes it, this pawn can take it diagonally. If anything takes that pawn, this pawn can take it diagonally. This is a really good setup position. The other team might move just 1 as well to give them a defensive position too. Probably at this point they might also think about bringing their knight into play, but we'll talk about that in another game. Let's say the blacks made a bit of a silly move and instead of moving 1, they moved 2. Uh-oh, have you spotted what can happen? That's right, the whites could move in and take out the black pawn nice and easily, and nothing is able to get it. So, pawns. They might look like nothing, but they are able to attack, and they are really good as well at defending. Remember, there's only one unit in the game that can jump over units, and that is the knight. So as long as you've got a strong defensive wall of pawns, then there's not much that the other units can do. Let's move some of these pieces back into position. Now let's just say we've made this position. Now, as you can see, I've got quite a nice defensive position here. This pawn is defended by that pawn, this pawn is defended by that pawn. Some of these pawns are defended by other pawns as well. It all looks great, okay? My units can hide behind it, my horses can jump out, my bishops on the black squares could get in and start attacking out. It would be a nice sort of defensive position. Later on in the game, the pawn can do something really clever. Now let's say the battle's been raging for hours, okay? And these pawns have all moved into different places. They've got to different positions on the field, okay? And I've managed to get a pawn all the way down to the other end. This pawn can't go anywhere, he's blocked by that pawn. This pawn, well, it might make 1 move forward, but it's still blocked by that pawn. This pawn is a bit useless, it can't move sideways, it can't get this pawn. This pawn is in a really good position. Why is it in such a good position, you might ask? Well, it's about to do something really, really amazing. When this pawn manages to get itself all the way to the end of the board, it is able to turn itself into probably the most powerful unit in the whole game. It'll get itself all the way to the end, turns into a queen. And the queen is amazing because queens can attack diagonally, they can attack straight, they can go all across the board. The only thing they can't do is jump over other units. So pawns, they're your front line of defense, they make 1 step forward, they attack diagonally, and they can turn into the most powerful unit in the game if they manage to get all the way to the other end.